Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a new set. We're doing every single one, and we are going in complete order. So the set we're checking out today is Double Crisis, and then we're doing a new thing on Throwback Thursdays, where every Thursday we highlight a Pokemon and we look at their greatest cards in Pokemon history. And today we are going to be checking out Gengar. And as a little bonus treat, we're also going to check out the best Haunter and Gastly cards at the end. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch-Out Gaming. Punch-Out Gaming is my local game store that I go to, and it's the #1 game store in all of Minnesota. I've actually been to them all, and they're only located 30 minutes north of the Twin Cities. I'll have all the links in the description. Definitely check them out. All right, let's get into it. Double Crisis, like I said, very small set. 34 cards, but no joke, has two of the greatest cards in Pokemon history. And I'm not even exaggerating. This came out March 25th, 2015. And yeah, it's Team Aqua, Team Magma, like that's the theme. And the best two cards is the Kyogre and the Groudon. Check these out. You cannot tell me that these are not sick. Look at all those awesome Pokemon in there. I mean, the card is just stacked. Big fan. Looks like raw, 410 for Kyogre and $394 for Groudon. Then it jumps all the way down to $11 for a reverse hollow Great Ball. But I think it's a fun little set to collect. And if you really look at the art, it's really good. I know they're not full arts or anything, but every card has legitimate, high quality art. Tons of Pokemon too, and a lot of the arts. So this is a fun little set to complete. And like I said, very affordable to get all these. It's just that the two big boys, they used to be pretty cheap. I used to buy these all the time for less than $100. Well, let's see what they're going for. So we're going to hop on eBay. We got the Kyogre, $405. And I did have it set to near mint and lightly played. Next, we got one for $550. $499 for some random grading company for an 8. $425 raw. Looks like we got the set here for $270. I'm guessing pretty rough. Kyogre for $300. $400. $167 for heavily played. $510 here on auction for near mint. So that's when you can really tell what these cards are going for. And it's still pretty off-center. The card is ridiculously tough to grade. I mean, I have 6 of these for both of them. And every single one of them is just super off-centered. Another one on auction, $493. And then we'll check the Groudon. We got one at $380, $275, $400, $265. So definitely a little bit cheaper. $175, $235 from what we're seeing on eBay. Of course, it really depends on the condition and stuff. Someone could have just been selling a lot more cleaner Kyogres at the moment. People are trying to sell these Groudons. $280, $375. Got the set for $800. Buncho at $200. PSA 7 at $500. Here we got the set for $950. So yeah, these things are very, very expensive. But again, they're so cool. And for the Kyogre, I could not find a recent PSA 10 sale. We got a PSA 9 at $2,550. And then for the Groudon, we have a recent sale in a PSA 10 at $11,950. So the Kyogre would definitely be over $10K. All right, next we have some sealed products for Double Crisis, and there's not very many at all. You literally just get this blister pack here. There's 4 packs in there, 2 Groudon, 2 Kyogre, and they are very expensive. We got a loose Kyogre pack of $475, $475, Groudon at $405, $425. The set for $536, and we're going to hop to 130 point. So we got the blister pack here for $1,900, $1,650, $990, $1,500. The pin sold for $20, and another one at $2,500 and $1,750. So very spendy, but that is it. That's the entire set. All right, let's get into Gengar. This is going to be a ton of fun. So these are all the Gengar cards from the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era. And as you guys would guess, the Gengar VMAX is the top dog from Fusion Strike. Market price $781. Definitely a super cool card. And then we got some prize pack series cards that are worth a ton. Just a V here. Market price $180. And then look at this. Just a Sword and Shield promo here. You guys might have a bunch of these. Definitely go check. It was a Champion's Path pin collection box. Market price $94 for this Gengar. For this just regular hollow Sword and Shield Black Star promo. Number 52. So go check your Sword and Shield promos because that is worth a ton. Even the Gengar VMAX, which is a super cool VMAX, market price $66. And then the trainer gallery. I have a ton of these. I have put this card in so many like Sleeper Sunday videos when it was just a few bucks. Now market price $51. But yeah, even a lot of these like regular holos and stuff for Gengar, the art's pretty sweet. This would be a really fun Pokemon to collect. And I love the one from 151. Super trippy. Even the Haunter and Gastly is super cool for that too. And then got to throw in the Pikachu from 151 because there's a Gengar right here in the corner. There's also a Blastoise here. I should have added this when I did my Blastoise video, but it's hard to remember when, you know, they're in like cameos and stuff and random cards. But love this Pikachu. Let's see. Still going up. Last sold for this one, 47, 59, and 43. But this has the most Gen 1 Pokemon in one card that I could find. All right, let's get to some crazy stuff. So we have the Gengar and Mimikyu GX tag team actually going down in a PSA 10. These cards got, you know, spiked up so quickly. That's going to happen. They're going to come down a little bit and level out and find their true spot. But last sold raw, $499, $775, $842, $1,200. Then we have a PSA 10 at $4,150 and another one at $4K and $3,700. So that's a decent little drop. Not super tough to grade either. $1,670 in a 10 and $1,054 in a 9. Next, we have another tag team, Gengar and Mimikyu. This is the full art. So last sold for this raw, $460. Wow. $120, $569, $350. We got a PSA 10 at $1,092 and $1,150. Similar pop. Next, we have the same exact art, but the rainbow version. And this got up to about $1,500. Now last sold raw, $55, $120, $350, $250, $125. And then we got a PSA 10 at $1,049. So it hasn't dropped a ton. And then we got a PSA 10 at $1,049. So that dropped, well, almost $400. Next, this is the last Gengar and Mimikyu tag team. This might be the best art. Now, I get this is the most expensive one, but it's a little too dark. You know, it almost feels like a full art in my opinion. And I like this one so much more, like art-wise. There's just no texture to this card. And last sold for this card raw, $199, $249, $210, $175. Then we got a PSA 10 at $1,328. And another one before that at $1,500. Next, we are checking out the Megas. So this is the Mega Gengar from Phantom Forces. This is number 35. This has a pop of 116 in a 10 and 308 in a 9. Last sold raw, 99, 48, 70, 65, 86, 150. PSA 9 at 258. And then we got a PSA 10 sale at $3,525. Next, same exact art, but this is the secret rare. There's a little bit more gold to it, and the word is in gold. Lower pop 2, only 62 in a 10, 202 in a 9. Much tougher to pull. Last sold raw, 185, 147, 240, 400, 300. And yeah, a bunch of sales from like $70 to $300. It really depends on condition. Then we got the PSA 10 sale at $8,499. Next, my favorite Mega Gengar. This is the XY promo, number 166. I love the color of Gengar in this card. Pretty low pop, 118 in a 10 and 332 in a 9. Last sold raw, 70, 150, 107, 217. We got a PSA 9 at $900. That's wild. And then we do have a PSA 10 sale here at $7,000 and another one at $7,600. Next, just a regular Gengar EX, but this used to be super, super cheap. Now last sold in a 10, $496, and then raw, 25, 39, 20, 30. But this card literally used to be just like $5. And really easy to grade too, 2,500 in a 10 and 901 in a 9. Next, we have the full art Gengar, the best full art Gengar we've ever gotten. The colors on this card is insane. Also from Phantom Forces. If you guys do not know, Phantom Forces is basically the Gengar set. Last sold raw, 700, 490, 190, 424, 165, 620. We got a PSA 9 at 2,138. And we have a PSA 10 sale, very recent, $11,800. Next, we have the Gengar Prime card. Love these primes. That's a pretty low pop, only 156 in a 10, 808 in a 9, 691 in an 8. Last sold in a 9, 1,200 and 1,000. Tons of PSA 9 sales. We got another one at 898, 1,155, 1,000. And we did have a PSA 10 sale here at $9,000. Next, we have the Level X card. I really feel like the Level X card and Prime card just match so good because they're kind of doing, you know, both angles of the card. So I don't know. I've always enjoyed these two. Very low pop, just like the Prime. 46 and a 10, 340 and a 9. Last sold raw 160, 135, 225. PSA 9 at 731 and 1250 before that. And last sold in a PSA 10 is $9,100. So many PSA 10 Gengar cards are right around 10K. Next, we have the Gengar from Legend Maker. This is the reverse holo with the stamp. Beautiful Gengar card. Very low pop, 34 and a 10. That sold raw 180, 120. PSA 9 at 1800 and 1400. And this is just a regular holo. I mean, this is the reverse holo, but last sold in a PSA 10, $9,000. It's kind of crazy. Next, we have the Gengar reverse holo from Stormfront. And again, I just like the reverse holos, but there's going to be holo versions and non-holo versions and stuff of a lot of these. Very low pop, says it's a pop of 2. But look at that background. Super cool, super trippy. Last sold raw 60, 25, 100, 43. PSA 9 at $425. And I could not find a PSA 10 sale for this card, obviously with a pop of 2. Next, we have the Gengar EX from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Let me know down below your guys' favorite Gengar card from this list. It's a tough one. There's so many good ones. That Gengar full art from Phantom Forces, that's definitely the best Gengar full art we've ever gotten. But I think some of the best Gengar cards are actually coming up still. And I really like this one too. I like how small and like disproportionate he is compared to his other Gengar cards. His face is just so big in this one. So it has a pop of 103 and a 10, 379 and a 9. Last sold raw 587, 544, 800. PSA 9 at 3300, 3650, 2933. And then we have a PSA 10 sale here at 9,350. Next, the Gengar reverse holo from Diamond and Pearl. Love the art. Last sold raw 31, 81, 18, 78. And then do we have any PSA 9 sales? We got one at 64 and 71. And I don't think I could find a PSA 10 sale of this card either. Next, getting to some of the bigger vintage cards here. This is the Gengar from Skyridge. This is an e-reader card. Love this one, holo. And again, you know, comes in non-holo and stuff. This has a pop of 95 and a 10, 310 and a 9. Last sold raw 1,000, 586, 2,555, 1,700. We had a PSA 9 at 7,100 and 6,300, and then a PSA 10 at $25,000. Next, we have the Gengar holo from Expedition with a pop of 83 and a 10, 437 and a 9. Last sold in a PSA 9, 1,125, 1,200, 1,200. We got raw at 300, 450, 555, 250. $499, and we got a PSA 10 sale here at $10,125. It's honestly crazy how many of these cards are selling right around 10K. Next, just to this one in here, didn't even add the PSA 10 sale. I don't think I could really find one, but Imposter Oak's Revenge. This is a Team Rocket card, comes in first edition and unlimited, but there is a Gengar in here. Very cool card, super cheap, just $1 or $2. Next, we have the Neo Destiny First Edition Dark Gengar Holo. Again, this comes in unlimited. PSA 10 with 114 and 282 and a 9. Last sold in a PSA 9 is 2,275, 2,700, 2,325. PSA 10 at $7,300. Raw, we got 811, 545, 325. Tons of weird sales in here. Right, next we have the first edition Sabrina's Gengar. This is a non-holo card. Last sold raw 154, 192, 77, 240. PSA 9 at 340, 515, 395, and a PSA 10 at $2,100. Next, the Sabrina's Gengar first edition from Gym Heroes. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the holo. It's a pop of only 111 and a 10 and 947 and a 9. Last sold in a 9. 2,300, 2,500, 23, 2K, Rod 814, 650, 950, 538. So many big sales for PSA 9s. I think we had a 10 down here at $9,999. That was a few months ago. All right, next we have the Gengar from Legendary Collection. This is the reverse holo. Crazy low pop, in a 10, only 8. I could not find a recent PSA 10 sale. But raw, 488, 808, 475, 625, 420, 560. We got a PSA 9 at 4900. And this card can also come in a holo version too. And we did have an older PSA 10 sale in the middle of 2024 at 7,300, but we know it's way more than that because the holo version, which is not as rare, just sold for 14 grand in a 10, and it was 11 grand before that. Next, the first edition Fossil Gengar. So this is the OG Gengar card. And I didn't add the Unlimiteds because it's the same exact art, but if you guys are on a budget, the Unlimiteds are so much cheaper. But this is the first edition with a pop of 181 in a 10, and 1900 in a 9, 1800 in a 8. Last sold raw, 350, 100, 300, 225. PSA 9 at 1100, another one at 1300, and we had a PSA 10 sale here at $7,113. Next, we got some Topps Gengar cards. They have some very expensive ones. If you guys did not know, these Topps cards come in a bunch of different versions. Like this is the Spectra, this is the Techno, this is the Sparkle. And you can get just a regular holo version or non-holo version. They're much cheaper. You don't have to spend $3 grand to get this art. And they also have this awesome TV card here, which has Gastly, Haunter, and Gengar, all three. That is a must get for your Gengar collection. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Next, get into some Japanese exclusives. This is the Versus Morty's Gengar. I'm going to keep saying it. I swear the Versus set is the most underrated set in Pokemon history right now. Last sold for this raw, 200, 175, PSA 9 at 485, and a 10 at 1350 and 1105. Next, the Sabrina's Gengar on the Japanese side, the holo version, is actually a banned card. Super tough to see in these pictures, but here we can kind of see it here. There's actually tombstones in the background, which they got rid of for English. So this is another super cool card because it actually shows the tombstones in there. So if you guys like that kind of stuff, definitely a good pickup. And last sold raw, 200. What do we got? 225. We got a PSA 9 at 750. PSA 8 at 330 and a 10 at 2,750 for that card. Next, we have the Gengar Master Ball on the Japanese side for 151. We did not get Master Balls for 151, and the Japanese side did. And it's pretty expensive. Last sold in a PSA 10, 500, and raw, 232, 150, 290, 250. It's literally like one of the most expensive cards in the set, worth more than most of the SARs. All right, next we have one of the most expensive cards on the list. This is the Gengar Masaki vending promo. I think I pronounced that correctly. I'm not sure. They did reprint this a couple years later as like an e-reader card. Much more affordable. Still, a few $100s for raw, but last sold raw moderately played $2,200. We got a PSA 5 at 2,300. We got a lightly played one with a swirl at 1,675. A Beckett 7.5 for 2,850. Wow, this one has the envelope with it too that it came in. $6,000. I think you had to send in like a Haunter card and something else to get this thing way back in the day in 1999. It is super, super rare. PSA 7 for 1,200. And then we got a PSA 8 at 3,950. Next, probably the coolest card on the list is this 2014 Pikachu Battle Festa card. Such an awesome thing. There's a Mega Gengar on the bottom. Takes up a lot of the card with Sylveon, Lucario. I mean, this thing is stacked. Last sold. I don't know why it doesn't have any info here, but it's all PSA 10s. 4K, 3950, 3950, 4800. Then we go down here with some actual info, which a couple months ago, 6K, 4K, 4100. We got one raw at 420, 375, 327. Barely any 9s. Kind of weird. I don't see any 9s. Oh, there's one. A PSA 9 at $650 and another one at $480. But super cool card for sure. Not tough to grade at all. 1,777 in a 10, 509 in a 9. That's why there's so many 10s. Next, the new Chinese Pikachu and Gengar 151 card. I think people are calling it the Gengar Chew or something like that. I don't know. PSA 10 sales, 2,700, 26, 26, 27. And then we got a raw at 1,160. So very expensive. And I got to mention too, the booster box for this set is insane art-wise. If you guys are a Gengar fan, this is a must get. Just be careful picking this up. There's a lot of fake ones out there, so get it from a trusted seller. But I love when the box art, is super cool. Next, we have another Chinese exclusive Gengar. I mean, he's even on the pack. But check out this new card. Let me know down below which one do you guys like better, the Pikachu and Gengar or just this Gengar here. Last sold 418. This is from the Gem Pack Volume 3. Literally just came out. There's a bunch of exclusive cards. I mean, look at the Cubone. It sold for $145. Another Gengar at $419, $420. Look, a whole stack. It says pre-order $428. We got a Ceruledge here, $69. That's not too bad. But yeah, I think there's like 4 or 5 Chinese exclusives in this set. All right, next we are jumping to PokeBeard. They have a new Mega Gengar EX coming out soon. This is the battle deck thing, and we're getting a Haunter illustration rare. Pretty cool. And then we're going to check out some of the best Gastly cards. We're just going to look through these. We're not going to go check out every single individual price. So the most expensive Gastly is the Legendary Collection Reverse Holo. It says raw 115. Then followed by the Gastly illustration rare at $59, which does have all the evolutions in there. So I'm such a big fan of that card. Then it goes the Gastly Skyridge Reverse Holo at $40. And then they also have the Gastly for the Japanese 151 Master Ball. I do love the background art in that. Plus it's a Master Ball, so it's pretty tough. And the first edition Shadowless Base Set Gastly says $15.85. But if you actually want it really clean, it's definitely going to be a little bit more than that. But there's definitely some really cool Gastlys. Really big fan of the Expedition one too. Let me know down below your guys' favorite Gastly. Just going to browse through these ones real quick. Look for some crazy arts. That one's like purple almost. His whole body instead of like darker. Man, I really like the base set Gastly too, though. It's tough to beat in my opinion. Sabrina's Gastly, sick. Like that one. Looks like he's hunting a Slowbro. So nothing super, super crazy for Gastly. Next, we got Haunter, the most expensive card. The Legendary Collection Reverse Holo at $200. And then we got the Skyridge Haunter. That's the Reverse Holo at $68. We got him in Fossil, Fire Red Leaf Green. That one's sick. Look at the Legend Maker Haunter. That one is creepy, straight out of a nightmare. Then we got the base set. And then, of course, the 151 Master Ball at $35. Expedition, that one's kind of creepy. Look at the Dark Haunter from Neo Destiny. $16. That one's definitely scary. Wow, the Triumphant. $21 Reverse Holo. That might be the scariest Haunter on this list. Sabrina's Haunter is also super cool. You can see like the shadows and stuff. I think that's Gengar. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but only $12 for that. Sabrina's Haunter is also sick. Lots of cool Haunter cards for sure. Just doesn't really have any full arts. And then we got some vending series, which I didn't show on Pokédata for some reason, for Gastly and Haunter. So these are Japanese exclusives. Super cool cards. Pretty tough to beat that art right there. It's just so unique and strange. And then even this Scream Psyduck card does have a Haunter. And I think that's a Gengar. He looks so small, but I think he's just further back. So this is another must get if you guys are collecting these cards. Card's pretty expensive. Raw $642, $967, $875, $772, PSA 10 at $4K. And then we're going to end on some sealed products here. So here's that Champions Path pin collection I was talking about that has that Gengar card. Market price $115. But there is a Gengar EX box. Super cool, $327. And then, of course, Phantom Forces, that is the Gengar set. And we do have a Gengar 151 mini tin with Poliwag. What else we got? Super cool Dark Powers EX special collection. Kind of a cool Gengar box. And again, I didn't check every single Gengar card, but I just did the majority of the more popular ones. Even the Trick or Trade stuff, it has Gengar all over it. And a lot of the Gengar cards they put in those sets are actually really cool with those stamps. And then we even got a Rebel Clash Premium Check Lane Blister. And to end it off, we have the Phantom Forces XY Booster Box, because this is the king of Gengar sealed products, because this is the Gengar set. Last sold $12,500 and $13,266 before that. We did have a sale at $9,861 last month, but again, You know, a couple dents can literally take off a couple $1,000s when we're talking about boxes like this. I'm not even exaggerating. But all right, that was today's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. Let me know down below which Pokemon you guys want to see next. And I did have to record this video pretty early. Like I'm talking a little over a week almost, maybe even like 10, 11 days, because I'll be at Seattle doing Card Party. And a lot of these prices don't change, you know, every single day like Modern does. So I just figured this was the one video that I can kind of record early. But if you guys like the content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which I have not even gotten that ready, but I'm sure it'll be great, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.